Okay, I think we are back live again, or at least pretty close to live. Sometimes it seems like there's a couple seconds delay when I click live and when it actually goes live. I figured I'd keep on sorting this box of cards from the first stream, and at the same time I I was looking on YouTube, and there's a few videos of actually Cardhalla. They're kind of cool. Um, a lot of people who are better, or maybe not better, more focused on videotaping than I usually am, because usually I like throwing coins and stuff and down on the floor. Uh, so I think usually, like at least every year lately, I've been basically involved in almost every single step, kind of going. Not like, not before Gen Con starts, but like once Gen Con starts, usually like the first day, I'm there building uh, along with other people, and then a lot of times I'll, you know, not every single year, but a lot of years I've at least bid something on the first throw, and then thrown some coins and helped with the cleanup. So that's basically everything. So it looks like we were almost halfway through. I have filled back up these. There's like 4 slot things. Sorry, moving the camera a little bit. Um, but there's like 4 of these slot things over here that I've filled up with cards, and then I still have another stack. Sorry, just hit the mic that I'm wearing. I'm going to pull these out that are the like, I want to say this is like 1995 through 2015 Magic cards, and we're just going to put those to the side because I'm like filling up that slot, so I need some more room for all these. We're going to start this video. I've gone ahead and turned off sound, um, although there is one funny advertisement. More advertising. There's one fun. I'm going to play this because that's the tower that I built, and it's just funny listening to them.
Who built that? 'Cause that thing stands in the side of the tape. Yeah, no, they use origami methods to hold the cards together.
Yeah. I just think it's so funny for them to be kind of talking about uh like our tower and like how'd they build it. So it's just, it's cubes. You could take, basically, like, take 6 cards, right? And if you use one for each side, fold the corners over, you can make a cube. And then you can like slide cards in, like in the flaps, and like you fold cards and then slide the flaps and put cards like between multiple flaps, and you can get like, you can connect all the cubes together, and it makes, you connect enough of them together and you get something massive. Anyway, this is the first throw, just really quick. So obviously this is a little bit wider, um but I'm not going to show the full video. If you guys want to go see the full like wider video and from this guy. It's Tales from the Niantic Cat House. So he only has like 105 subscribers, but it's cool to see that somebody up top was filming all this. Uh, I figure whoever it is isn't going to be too upset that I'm showing. Can't believe. This is the second throw. Hit something. Took down a small tower. Or kind of one of the cube towers, which is surprising. Normally those don't go down. No. I always love that start. Just the noise and uh, portals. I think I don't have a lot of those, so that's always nice to see another one of those. More folded cards. I hear it. They're back to. It's got to be fake. I kind of like this video just because they are showing like they showed the first throw, then they're going all the way through to you know where this falls down and then like the beginning of them kind of because they're always worried about people getting hurt because at some point people are kind of out coins, they go ahead and call an end to it, and then they kind of have to go in and knock down any of the towers. They're still like the remains of the towers, kind of they're still standing, or anything still standing. Um, just because otherwise people will try to run in there, and I doubt many people have any experience walking on cards. But when you have multiple like layers of cards, like think about how like slippery, like how cards slide against each other. Now imagine trying to like walk on that. It just, you know, it's really easy to go down. Um, play this part just because I want to save it. Yeah, maybe it's still a ways away. I don't know what these.
Hey, who cares? Who cares if it's
Every time that thing moves.
How is that thing still standing?
It's still standing.
学院这两个人没来。
Don't know what these people are saying. I think Japanese.
Okay. Yeah, the point should be. 是不是离挺远的？不知道。对，合理啊。It's been 5 minutes. It's still. Yeah, they've lost interest all the time. Yeah, because someone wants to be the person who threw the last weapon, right? Even if they're not actually, they want to feel like they're the person who threw the last one.
There was some chanting "take it down" earlier, and it started to go away.
Here's the thing, I think once it starts to go down, it's done. Right? Oh, absolutely. I think it also doesn't help that there's a lot of weight on top, forcing it down.
Not bad analysis.
怎么回事？他们丢的是物理币吗？还是什么？
That looks close now. There it goes. Yep. I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, I'm sure there's more exciting things out there, but I think one of the best parts of Cardhalla is, at least for me every year, is hearing that kind of cheer when that tower goes down. And so, like, every year, like, we try to build it so that it's going to last a long time. Like, it doesn't go down in just like a couple minutes, which, I mean, sometimes we get wrong. One time, it was like a minute and a half in, somebody threw a coin. I don't know if it was a quarter, $half or something. Threw it with enough force to actually hit a cube just right, and broke the cube and took the whole thing down. Um, but usually we try to, build pretty good. Yeah. See, she slipped. So, yeah, pretty fun. Same video. What is this? That's an advertisement again. This is kind of cool. Uh, person right there for who did this video. I like they're like right there. So this was this 2024. You can see the tower that I built in the background there. This one was pretty cool. There's a tower there, and then there's another one that had like spirals on it, which was cool. Yeah, person doing the first throw, so which usually does not go great. I have to put these 5 ring cards to the side also. They're saying our tower is still standing. It is definitely when you're watching this, like, and you see just like how many coins are heading in there and hearing them like hitting stuff. Um, it's just crazy. Like it's crazy even thinking that anything stays up. There's a rare. That's always nice to kind of find. I kind of want to put that to the side because I don't know if we'll go ahead and pull all the rares out, and I probably need to do a stream of that. Um, Let me see if I can, because their tower's down, and I think the rest of that video is just kind of here. I'll show. It's just kind of more of the same that here, here. They don't really show any of the other towers, which actually that one in the back that we built, I think is still up. So there's the cleanup. There's me in the corner. Just, I think it's one of the most hilarious things is I have watched a ton of Cardhalla stuff, and over almost never is there like a decent picture of me at Cardhalla. Like, here's someone who did a like day one. There I am in the back, but like I have my head down. Like the guy's kind of scanning through. So I just think it's always funny that like we're there building stuff, but like the next day people will just be like, "Who? What?" Oh, here's a 2015. This guy, Geek Cabal, he's talking about, he has pictures and videos of old Gen Con stuff he was going through. He just posted this 10 months ago. Yeah, Destruction Cardhalla 2015. Oh, this is great. So, you see this tower right here? That massive base on that tower. And this was the first year I think we tried to go for the record, or like what we believe is the record for the tallest freestanding tower at Cardhalla that didn't have a ladder used on it. And you can see how it just almost like ends here. That was because as we were carrying this over to put it on top, it snapped off at the top there. Fell off. The whole top of it was just gone. And we were like, oh. So like very kind of, okay, wait. Sorry. I just realized okay. Let's try get this a little bit bigger. Okay. This tower right here. Sorry. I didn't realize because my screen is only showing like the center over there, because normally I'm doing my phone here. Yeah, so that tower right there was what we were built, and you can see it just kind of ends, and that's because it all fell off. So yeah, so it gets the beginning of this is kind of the front, which is actually decent because the front's where stuff's falling. So you just see how kind of dense those towers go. This is great. I don't know if I've seen the 2015 video besides for what I have. And I don't think mine was that great from that year. This is why though we do try to well, I don't want to spoil anything. So, but this was kind of a failure in multiple, well, failure in success in a couple different ways. If you're out points, you're out. just like eating away at the front of that tower. One of these Dungeons and Dragons 2004 like their D&D quick reference.
Alex, what did you say? The White Tower. Still standing. All right, if you got players still, you're going to throw. Look at the way front. There's still a lot of players here. Once again, if you do not pick up players on the field, when you're out, you're out.
Going this way.
You're making progress. You're making progress. Do not pick up points on the floor. Once you're done, you're done.
I wouldn't want to be.
Almost feels so this Star Trek card such shit. But it's bent. This is how the cubes are made. So you bend both flaps, and then you have another card where the flaps are over this, and then a card on the side. Yeah, a card on this side where the flaps are like this, and then this, and then the bottom. And there's that, and you get the cube. We should do a tutorial.
All right, we're wrapping up here soon. Do not be creative. Do not throw dice. Do not throw marbles. Do not throw game bombs. Do not throw other people.
Knock it down, man. I'm feeling better, man. Because I'm waiting for it.
Load mine up with music before this trip, so.
Easy, right?
All right, we got about 30 seconds. So if you want to throw, is this the time? Don't go to the other guys, hold on. A reminder, do not pick up toys off the floor. I don't know if I can't hit that big top, but it's certainly bigger than a wombat. Oh, they're doing some damage.
I wonder how long that took to go.
All right, kids, what do you guys step back over here on this side?
The guy videotaping, or somebody nearby just said, I wonder how long that took to build. The answer is it took 2 people.
You got busy.
We started Wednesday night.
In cards versus humans, that wins.
And I want to say it was somewhere between 35 and 40 hours. Times 2. It was a long time. You know, it's really... You know, it's hilarious. I just noticed. Let me pause this really quick. Can I zoom? I know I can zoom if I press. No, come on. I don't know. I can't really see that well, but I am like right over there. There I am, right there. That's hilarious.
I
So
wonder how long that took to develop.
All right, kids, I need you guys to step back over here on this side. You guys need to step back. And do not pick up any points. Thank you guys so much. If you guys do want to volunteer,
oh, and they didn't. So that's where it stood at the end. Can I see? So that's still standing. Basically everything else is just destroyed. And this is back when there were a lot more versus cards. Yeah, so there's another picture. Is it playing? Now it is. Looks like this is pictures. Yep, yeah. So it's another year where there was not a whole lot. This is funny because yeah, I'm not. You can't see me there, but I had a baggie of coins because I just knew there wasn't going to be enough, and I'd been chucking it like a huge bag of coins, and I'd been throwing them the whole time, and so um, I went up there and I threw the coins, and I missed. Like I kind of hit. I like grazed the side of the tower. Probably knocked off a good 30, 40 cards. I've seen some video of the side of where I was throwing it, and it looks like I hit because cards go flying everywhere. But really, I just like grazed the side, took out like one or two layers on the side. And so they then had the person that had helped me build it with was like, oh, it's my bucket list to run in. And the funny part is, so right there, you know how I said cards are slippery? They slipped and fell into the tower. uh,
Well, hopefully you got something out of that. Like I said, I thought it was entertaining to watch. I've only really watched it twice. In hindsight, I should have filmed it a little bit differently, but I wasn't thinking about putting it on YouTube. If we do film it next year, we'll try to get some different angles and stuff. You want to see other picture montages.
sorry. These are pictures from the same guy. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize I was playing music. Hopefully, I mean, I'd assume the Valkyrie song is public domain at this point. A pretty old classical song, right? Of the Valkyries, I believe. I'll have to look that up at some point, and then hopefully it's public domain so that I don't have to edit the sound out. But yeah, it was cool. They let me see if I could go back to that previous. Yeah. So right there you can see right here this is like a robot that they put on the front. Uh oh, and there I am on the side of this video again. Uh this picture building something else small. Um like a robot that somebody built and we put up there on the front of the tower. And the first person that did the first throw pointed at the big tower, and everybody was kind of like, you're not going to take that down with one coin, right? They were like, I'm going to throw it anyway. And they were like, I'm not aiming for the tower, I'm aiming for the robot. And they threw their coin, and I think it's the first year I'd ever seen anybody hit what they aimed for and actually like do something to it, because they hit it and took out one of the arms. So it was really funny because everybody was cheering because actually it might be the first time, or maybe the only time I've ever seen anybody like say, "Hey, I'm going to aim for this," and then actually hit it and actually damage it like significantly. Um, like I've have seen people take out towers before, but I don't think it was the tower they were aiming for. Look, epic trading card game. Let me move this over a little bit so that it's better view. I imagine a lot of the people that are going to come to this channel are going to be here for the magic cards. That or for Cardhalla. So yeah, another robot. There's a pretty good picture of this tower. You can just see just how many things are kind of built. Oh, this is another like cool thing. There used to be a guy when I first started going to Cardhalla, almost every year he'd build an octopus. Um, I think it might have been the second to last year they built one, but I mean you could see uh like these tentacles they built would be like going all over. So you can actually like see here he built it and it like went up on top of this tower. Um, just all types of crazy stuff. A lot of times you'll see like a Gen Con. See, I keep on saying there's not like there I am. It's my back. I'm pretty sure that's me. There I am again on just the edge. What is this one? Another Tales from the Niantic Cat House. — 2021. Yeah. You know what? This is So this is the year after. So 2020, Gen Con did not happen, like because of the pandemic. You can see like everybody's wearing masks and everything here. 2021, I did not go. Uh, Pandemic was kind of still in full swing. Um, I had trying to remember where I was. I think I just started a new job. Gosh, they're counting down from like 20. But yeah, just not as many people, so okay. Need to get these ones out of the way too. Hmm. Yeah, just not as much going on there. I don't even know if this tower went down. Yeah, yeah. See if I can find a 2016. Okay, 2016, I believe, was our record. There I am. Yeah, so this was another year that was kind of a bit of a failure. I'm going to try to get. Okay. There's the tower, right? Like the size of that thing. I mean, you have starting here all the way up to here. Um, yeah, it was a good 16, 17, 18 feet, something crazy tall. And people were all like, how did something like that even get built? I mean, so the way we did it, you'll notice it's really low here on the base. Um, we knew the only way we were doing it was with cubes. And so we'd actually built it low, and then we put the top down, lifted the top up, slid the next one under, lifted that up, slid the next one under, lifted that up, slid the next one under. Unfortunately, we got right here. These were like a 1 by 1 by 1, and I hadn't built like a 3 by 3 in the middle of those. There was actually a like um, it was almost like an O within like 4 pillars, and then another O. And so when we went to put that on, it was like twisting a whole bunch. So we actually pulled that out. Otherwise, it would have been like 19, 20 feet, something crazy. Um, but then, we just kept on going. Lift it up, put another one. By the time I got down to this bottom, I was kind of glad it wasn't bigger, because it was actually getting to the point where the weight was so much that I was afraid the cubes were just going to like fall apart when I picked it up, because of how much weight was on each cube. Um, and so I don't think we'll I don't think we'll ever beat this. I mean, maybe I could. I'd build it differently. Um, but yeah, but it was a failure in a way, because if you watch it, so this is only like a minute in, and there it goes. So what happened there was, you can't see it from this angle. There's just so much downward weight on there. And a quarter hit one of the cubes on the corner, I think on this other side, for one of the pillars. Popped it out. Um, see, I actually have. I want to say, like, there's me. I think I had somebody who was filming it. Yeah. And so I had looked at the film after, uh, and it popped out, and it kind of started leaning and then like pulled. So that was where like the connections weren't as solid. So is why it's kind of snapped off there. And it went down. And so we were a little bit disappointed, just because it was like, okay, we spent all that time. Like, the year before was 2015. Tower didn't go down at all. Right. And then 2016, we build this massive tower up. And it goes down in like a minute something. And so it was just kind of this like, oh gosh. like I can't believe like 2 years in a row, like if we didn't get that big, like, yeah, we destroyed Cardhalla and took the big tower down like one year, and then the next year just kind of like, oh, that was the kind of anticlimactic. That went down really easily. So yeah, from kind of then on, I think we did a lot better job building stuff. Although I think the next year we tried this whole like Eiffel Tower thing. I think, I don't know. One year we tried to build an Eiffel Tower. Just It failed miserably. So it like collapsed in on itself, because if you look at like a picture of the Eiffel Tower, um, this is so global ruin. Uh, each player chooses from the lands he or she controls a land of each basic land type, then sacrifices the rest. So if you're playing mono, uh, oof, that would kind of be brutal. Because if you're up against somebody who's playing like a mono color, then you can force them to sacrifice everything that's not a like except for one land. Um, and meanwhile, you can keep like let's say you're playing like three colors, you could potentially keep three lands. Aww. Tempest plains that's folded in half. So just make sure it's not actually worth anything. I mean, I kind of doubt somebody. I mean, it doesn't really, like, at a glance, look that bad. You can kind of see the back, I think. Maybe it looks worse. Okay. It doesn't like me trying to do that on my, once a white background. Okay. It's 41-cent line. I'm sad to toss it, but it's not even 41 cents. It's like, like if you're going to buy that, you're going to pay like $1 for shipping, right? Another one, uncommon essence depleter, folded in half. They say, or like I've heard, you can like fold a Magic the Gathering card, and it like will snap back without doing that. I don't believe that. So, like doing that and then like, hey, it'll fold back. Like, eh, with no damage, doubtful. Um, what that what that was a test for was back when it was really common for cards to be because they did like international and collectors, and they printed the front of the card the exact same, but on the back they changed the back, so the back was not at all it's completely different back. And they said these aren't tournament legal, right? You can play with them yourself if like if you and your friends are like, hey, we want to play, uh you know Magic the Gathering, and we don't care that's collector's edition, right? You can go ahead and play with those, um like among yourselves, but you can't bring them to a tournament, right? And like the official tournaments, they're not legal. Um, and so the problem is, so you print the front that's the exact same as like an alpha or beta, right? And then you print a back that's different, but the back on original alpha and beta is on the back of every single other card, right? And so what would happen is, it still happens to this day. People will take the collectors and international collectors and they'll like sand the back of the card off, right? Either sand it or somehow get it off of the back, um, and then they'll glue a different back that's from like they'll take a, this is a Fallen Empires. They'll take the Fallen Empires back, right? Sand or do something and remove the front, glue it to, glue the two sides together, and you have a card that at a glance looks like it's an alpha or beta. Um, and then they try to sell them as alpha and beta. So for those, like the theory was, you can bend those cards, right? Now I can't remember if it was with the back on the inside or the back on the outside, but the idea was that with the glue and everything, that bend is going to show like a whole bunch of creasing, just from being bent. And I mean, Magic the Gathering cards, you can bend them a bit, uh, and they'll go back to their shape. They have a like graphite core in them. So the idea is, the whole sanding process. So right, you're going to lose maybe some of that core. They're going to have included extra glue in there, like all types of stuff, and so it's just not going to react the same way. Um, Now, unfortunately, that also means like just because you think that a card is going to react that way, I'm going to switch this Mage Wars. Tired of putting Mage Wars over there. Like, that doesn't mean that some of the original cards aren't also going to crease, at least some, like not as badly, probably, but they're still going to get damaged from it. And when you're talking about like a power 9 or something, now if you're talking, you know, back like the first year the Magic the Gathering came out, an Alpha Black Lotus was like $25. Right? Like it wasn't much. Like, even when you're talking like a few years later, you're talking maybe like $100 or something. Like people aren't buying them to like a lot of the people that were buying them, nobody expected an Alpha Black Lotus is going to be $500,000, right? That's crazy. They were buying them to play in tournaments and stuff because Match the Gathering was giving some decent money away at tournaments. And so you could win a tournament, and if you wanted to like go like they had like a professional league and stuff, and you could go pro, and then like they would pay you like appearance fees, and they were like videoing it and televising it. I mean, like not like major television or whatever, but like it was out there. Like if you wanted to play a game, like think about like kind of like where esports is today. Like that's maybe where Match the Gathering was back then. And so like if you wanted to get involved, like maybe even not even where esports is today, maybe smaller than that even. But, you know, yeah, people were buying them to use. Um, this is interesting. So you notice how that's not as black. I don't think that's actually an indication that this is a fake card. Um, for one thing, think I don't think Neckright's like a rare card or expensive card. But what apparently they've used to do, or maybe still do, is they have a layer of like blue underneath there, and so if the black isn't really thick, then some of the blue still shows up. Um, that's not like a really obvious one, but there's some where apparently some misprints where it's like very obviously like blue. So um, it's like a dark blue. Anyway, what was I talking about? Like if you're talking like, okay, so you're going to spend like a couple $100 on Black Lotus. You're doing it because you want to get into the Pro Tour, and you're like, okay, if it's collector's edition or international edition, do I get like banned if I like bring it there? And then they're like, hey, that's not the legitimate one. Like, I think that's where that bend test comes from, is that they were like, let me just bend this, and it's quick and easy way to show, and like, hey, if it's real, like, I'm buying the card. I don't really care about the condition all that much anyway. Like, so, um, but nowadays, that is not something I would ever suggest somebody do. For one thing, realistically, I don't even think it's like nowadays it's too hard for people to bypass it. This would be funny to show up with to a Match the Gathering tournament and try play this. You're like, it's a snow covered plane. The winter blizzard or battle. Even if you control no units in the current battlefield, destroy this card. A blizzard strikes suddenly. Give the current battlefield's province +2 strength. Okay. I don't really know how Five Rings works. So, but yeah. Be interesting if I knew more people that were really active in Magic the Gathering way back then. Um, like, is that really like what people were doing? Um, like I imagine that's what it was, but Kingdom Hearts. Because I can't imagine if anybody had predicted that a Alphabet Lotus was going to be worth thousands of dollars, that they'd be bending it. I mean, there were other things. Water tests. There was rumors about a microwave test. You could microwave a card to tell if it was real or not. Like, and cards that weren't real within a couple seconds would burst into flames. Um, yeah, foil cards would. So, stream's been over an hour. Just thinking, I still have almost half of this to sort out. Maybe a little bit less than half. Okay. That WWE stack is like full. You just see just how many, like, I pulled that out and I'm now that stacks back to being the most full of any of these. So I think this must have been like, I mean, that's a 2016 card. So maybe I picked these up in like either 2016 or 2017. Um, I don't think I've seen anything that says 2017. It maybe makes sense that like some of these sets were still that's 2015. Like World of Warcraft had maybe just like started to you know, no longer be a thing. Like, that seems like a really lame, like 4 mana, pay 2 life, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. I think there's a lot better cards out there. I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't know 100% for sure, but like depending on your like creature set, there's probably some cards out there that are like, you know, green creatures get +1/+1 permanently. Right? Like an enchantment. In that case, like, okay, if it's +1/+1, I mean, I guess you could sacrifice, like, you could pay like 18 life and prevent 9 damage. But like, at some point, I would think it would be too much. So, and like, if you were just doing that to save like 1 card, you're better off just putting something that does +1/+1. Croissant, Drover, creature spells you play with converted mana cost 6 or more, cost 2 colorless mana less to play. Huh. Rhystic Lightning. I want to say, was Rhystic Lightning? Nah, it's a 20-cent card. I want to say there was some other card that for a while was, I mean, maybe it was Rhystic Lightning, was like really popular to play. Um, it was like Lightning Bolt. It's 1 mana, 3 damage, but like it was like a little bit more or a little bit more mana, but it was like more damage. Um, and so people were playing it just because, um, you know, they were finding that, well, for one thing, Okay, you throw 4 lightning bolts in your deck. You're not going to probably draw all 4 of them. So you need other cards anyway. Um, Bind Spirit. Netrunners. Could have been Mystic Lightning, and now that's just not it anymore because there's been better cards that have come along. Like, that's definitely happened in Magic the Gathering. A card that was, hey, this is going to be an awesome card forever, and then, like, something comes along where it's just like Ristic Lightning is like, unless the whoever it is pays like 2 mana, in which case only deals 2 damage. Like, another card comes along, it's just like, unless they pay 1 mana or something. And immediately, like, Ristic Lightning's just the you know the inferior version, right? Or like it deals 3 damage if they pay 2, or it costs 1 less mana to play this card. I always think that's I know they say there's a reserved list at Magic Gathering. You cannot convince me that if so the reserve list is ridiculous because those cards, the value should be primarily driven by the collectability, right? Like especially a card like your Power Nines, right? Their value is high enough. It should be based on their collectability. It doesn't matter if they reprint those cards. It shouldn't matter. I mean, it maybe does that they, you know, would Black Lotus go down if they reprinted it? Um, I I don't know. Like if they reprinted Black Lotus and brought more people into Magic the Gathering, I don't know if it would actually go down in price or not. Um, it may go up just because more people would be involved. Um, but like it should be based on the collectability, which is based on when it was released. Um, so like I don't give a whole lot of value to something being on the reserved list or not, because if it's you know like the value should be on like, hey, there were only X number of these printed for this year, right? So and we see that with some of the ones that I've been scanning through where what is this? Like Anastasia? Is Anastasia 1998 20th Century Fox film card? Just weird stuff in these. um what was I saying? So like Black Lotus should be able to hold its value even if it was reprinted, because people should be able to say it's the most iconic card, right? Like if you're going to collect a Black Lotus, you're not going to say the one that was reprinted 30 years later right, is worth the same as the one that was printed when Magic the Gathering first came out, right? Just like if you went and printed a Mickey Mantle rookie card nowadays and Top said it's an official print of the Mickey Mantle rookie card, right? Nobody's going to say, "Oh yeah, that definitely," and that card's worth $4 million, right? Would it reduce the value of the the original? I don't think so. Especially if they look different enough that it's obvious which one you're using. Like, I don't think it reduces the value. Um, I know people would kind of complain about that. I think what does reduce the value potentially is if you do that, and then people are like, "Well, I just don't want to play Magic the Gathering anymore because I'm invested in the reserve list and collecting cards in the reserve list, and now you're reprinting these, and you guys are going back on your word, and what else are you going to go back on?" Right? So, I mean, there is good reason for them once they've said something's on the reserve list, you know, to not break that, and why people may be upset if they do break it. Um, but I mean, let's be honest. If Hasbro thought Magic the Gathering was dying, right, they would cannibalize and print those in a heartbeat. Like a heartbeat. Like, oh yeah, they're vintage master packs, right? Or master, like whatever, $100 a pack. I mean, they just tried to do this with 4 packs for $1,000, right? And people basically were like, well, they're not tournament legal, so we don't even care. But like, even if they were tournament legal, why would you care? Would you really care? Like, how many? I mean, I guess there are some people that are like wanting to play vintage, and they're like, well, I just can't. Like, so they would buy it, but they're not buying it because it's collectible. They're buying it because they say the card itself has value because I'm now able to play that card. Uh, but it doesn't have the $500,000 price tag on it, right? The fact that they tried to sell. There's another rare Nomad's Assembly. The fact that they tried to sell 4 packs for $250, and it was like, right, like, what's your chance of pulling a Power 9 in those 4 packs? Um, Pretty low, right? But essentially, what you're saying is, let's say you got together 5 people and you each bought 4 packs, right? If Power 9 was worth what it was, right, on TCG Player, or really, I don't know anybody who's going to be selling it through TCG Player, but let's say eBay or wherever. Like, if Power 9 was worth that money, I think out of 20 packs, you could pull a Power 9, maybe even 2 or 3 Power 9s, right? Like, if Power 9 was worth the $10,000 price tag, why don't you have people out there doing that? The other thing is, why is it that, like, so that $500,000 price tag, that's for like a PSA 9.5, PSA 10, um, right? Like Black Lotus. Like a Black Lotus that's like a PSA 2, right? That's not going to be, you know, anywhere close to that price. Um, so it's just not, it's not realistic to say. There's another epic trading card game. It's just not realistic to say that, like, this being on the reserved list is why cards like Black Lotus and the other Power 9 cards are worth something. Now, it's why dual lands are worth something probably, right? Like a dual lands, like a lot of people want those cards. They're legal in a few different formats, like and they're not so far out of the price range of most people that like you're going to have people they're like, I could probably get a couple dual lands, throw them in my deck and increase the power of my deck significantly. Right? So I think that's different. And those being on the reserve list, that holds up that price for those. The fact that they're on the reserve list. Um, but I mean, if dual lands get to the point where they're $10,000 a piece, like I think you're back in the point where, hey, I mean, unless that's because inflation, which I mean nowadays, I can't guarantee that. You know, maybe $1,000 dual land or whatever is going to go up to $10,000 in not too much longer. But like I just can't imagine that price tag. Because at that point you're saying, okay, so I could put like I think you could put 4 dual lands in your deck, right? Let's say they're $10,000 each. That's $40,000. Like, is somebody actually going to go out there spend $40,000 on dual lands? Like, how much are you spending on the rest of your cards? Right? Like, you should be spending a massive amount of money, um, just to play Magic. No, I just can't see it happening. Um, like, uh, and at that point, like more and more formats are just going to ban it because players won't reasonably be able to get dual lands. So, like, if anything, the fact that like they're going to get banned at some point, you'd almost argue that would drop the price, right? Once they get banned. Um, so I don't know. Like at that point, like maybe you're one of the people that are a collector and you're like, you know what? I don't want this card game banned in all the formats. I want it to still be in all the formats because no, like think about it this way. Like let's say you're saying, okay, my card's $10,000. Who's going to spend that money? It's people that have that money to spend on there. If you have that level of money to drop what's the equivalent of a car, by the time you count your other cards in that deck, a small house, right? Potentially on a deck of Magic the Gathering cards. Like, you're not doing that because it's like that's why people are out there buying alpha lands, right? Or beta lands for $40 an island, right? It's not because they're like, oh, I need this to win. No, it's like a status type thing. Like, look at all the money I have to throw around. And in that case, they're not going to care. Like, if anything, like if you want it to be a status symbol, you want it to be something that you can play in as many different formats as possible, right? Because you just dropped the equivalent of a car on this card. And so you want it played in every single format. And you want to you want to be able to sit down and be like, oh, you're playing with dual lands? Well, you're playing with the cheap dual lands. Right? Like, look at my dual lands. They're $10,000 a piece. Your dual lands, those were printed last year and they're $10, right? um, that's the mindset of people like that. Uh, kind of like, along with the idea, like, with like the beta lands, there's also a mindset that if I'm already dropping the equivalent of a car on my deck, like I'm not going to throw just like regular cheap lands with it. I'm going to want something that's expensive. Like I want all my cards to be expensive. That way I can say, the cheapest card in my deck is a basic land, and it's, the basic land in there is $100 or whatever. Right? Like, so it seems weird to me, the reserve list being like a thing as far as like investments go. Another thing is like look at it, like Black Lotus, right? I bet you don't know this, but Match of the Gathering, right? Wizards of the Coast, they already printed a card that's better than Black Lotus. They printed Blacker Lotus, right? Literally. I feel like I need to pull this off. Blacker Lotus. Yeah. So look at that. Um, I don't know how well. Right? So 0 mana, tap, tear Blacker Lotus into pieces, add 4 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Play this ability as mana source, remove the pieces from the game afterward. Right? Like, yep. That's I mean, that's a card. Printed by you know, by Wizards of the Coast. It's part of the Unglued set. Now, they've said that's not tournament legal, right? But I mean, so where's your reserve list if at any point Magic the Gathering could come back and say, you know what? We like this idea of a 0 mana, tap and get 4 mana, right? And sacrifice the card, right? We really like that idea. Or like, you know what? We're not even going to do that. It's going to be 1 mana, right? And then tap, sacrifice it, you get 3, right? Well, or 1 mana, tap, sacrifice, so you get 4, right? That's basically the equivalent of Black Lotus then, right? Because you get your 3 mana ahead once you pay for the 1 mana. Especially if it comes in. Yeah. I want to say, does Black Lotus come into the game tapped? I cannot remember if artifacts come into play tapped or not. Or maybe it's just that Black Lotus didn't have a tap requirement. Yeah, here's the other crazy thing. So, okay. So, like, Black Lotus didn't have a tap requirement. But yeah, adds 3 mana of any single color of your choice to your mana pool, then it's discarded. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. Okay. Doesn't require a tap, does it? Yeah. I mean, I don't think it requires a tap. Even though it says tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt, like, um, actually would result in some kind of funny situations. If like tapping this card is separate from the rest of things. Um, Random hockey card, but anyway, what was I saying? Like they could reprint this and say it's a gray lotus. Pay 1 colorless mana, and it adds 4 mana of any single color of your choice to your mana pool. Almost the same as Black Lotus. In fact, it's a tiny bit better because there's some land cards that give you a colorless mana. And so you're changing a colorless mana into whatever mana of any color you want. Right? They could do they could come out with a green lotus, a blue lotus, a white lotus, you know, uh, one free a red lotus, right? Um, and it gives you like it's 0 mana, adds 3 green mana, right? And then it's discarded, right? It's still really useful in all your like mono decks. Like, hey, same as having a Black Lotus in those decks, right? We didn't reprint the reserve list, right? We just printed something that took the place of that card, right? And what are people going to say? That's not fair. Oh, bent Star Wars card. Almost sadder about that than Magic the Gathering cards. That Jedi test. Yeah, okay. It's 9:30. Another versus card. Looks like a Wolverine versus somebody with claws. Sabretooth, maybe? Now, maybe that's Sabretooth? The Maple Story card. I'm gonna try and look. I don't think I have seen anything this 2017 in here. So I'm guessing these are from. I mean, I want to say they're 2016 Cardhalla. That's what I want to say. But yeah, I don't think it is 2016 Cardhalla. Because 2016 Cardhalla had a whole bunch of versus cards. So where are all the versus cards is 2016? It's probably 2017. I think there were still some versus cards floating around, but there were not. Like, it was kind of weird that there were a whole bunch. I want to say 1 year, and then like the next year, there were almost no versus cards. Um, like, I think whoever had donated them in 1 year, like, they just got donated once or something weird. That John Cena? I think that's John Cena. This game should be too much. Just going to pull some of them and put them there. Sad. Battletech. Yeah, I'm definitely more of a sci-fi geek. Like, although I didn't really play or, you know, get into the lore of BattleTech at all, so, um, but I mean, like, when it comes to, uh, who is it, uh, Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, like, I've watched a lot of those. Not as much of the recent Star Trek stuff. Um, why did I? Yeah. The recent Star Trek stuff, it just isn't, it's still like popular enough that it hasn't been on, a lot of the like platforms that I've watched Star Trek stuff on before, so. Altruism. Bent. halfway feel like for the end of the stream, I should go back to that Blacker Lotus and throw that up on screen. Just because I kind of feel like that's just a card that more people should maybe know about that don't know about. Like the fact that, you know, a lot of people think that like Wizards of the Coast in Hasbro is going to follow some reserve list that you know, like we know they're not like or at least like, you know, the reserve list is basically a joke in that like at any point they can print all types of cards that basically replace any of the cards on the reserve list. Um, huh, here's a, you know, it replaces any of the cards on the reserve list, and there's like not much that anybody can really do about it. Okay. Like, hey, we're just going to print something better than Black Lotus, or print a tri-land, right? Or hey, we're going to print this card that you know, it's a dual land. You can tap it for one of either mana, or you can tap it for 2 colorless mana. Right? Like, I'm just suddenly like, hey, dual lands are no longer the best land cards. I'd argue. Already, there's probably some out there that are, in some decks, are better than dual lands. Well, especially if you're dealing with a mono deck, in which case you don't need a dual land at all. Card again. Okay, we're nearing the end. Blur Dragon, the role playing card game. We have a role playing card game too. Oh, here's I used to play with this card, Overrun. This is a 2011 card, so I mean I got into Magic pretty late. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. Right? Just a crazy card to play. Like if I was playing elves, right? I'd have a ton of elves out, a ton of life, just a ton of mana. And then you play something like that. It's like, hey, 5 mana, and all my cards have trample now. And, oh, by the way, I have this other card that gives my creatures +X/+X. And you know, I have Weirwood Lodge, and I have cards that let me untap lands. And so now I'm hitting you with these like 5 elves that are like +20/+20 or 20/20s with trample. And good luck. So, uh, yeah, we're done sorting through that box. I do have another box here, which so we another one of these I think that has maybe another 2,500 cards in it around, maybe. Um, so we have some more sorting to do, for sure. But I think we are going to call this good for tonight. I don't want to end the stream like that. There we go. I want to make sure that this is visible. I need to get custom uh, thumbnails for my videos up. I guess so. I'm doing this as just kind of something to do. I don't know. It'd be nice if it did take off at some point. I kind of doubt it will. Um, but I figured I should at least do this once just to show people kind of what's in Cardhalla. Um, and so, like, I will at some point go through, get the thumbnails on stuff, probably edit a lot of these live streams so that we can see exactly, like, the live streams where I'm sorting through stuff will like speed up to parts where there's something good. Um, then, you know, kind of do those as videos instead of live streams. So that'll be kind of cool to do at some point. Because we have another almost a year until the next Cardhalla. And I mean, I still have a lot of cards to go through, obviously. Um, but I'm probably a third of my way through the Magic cards. I probably spent a week going through cards before, maybe 2 weeks going through cards before I started streaming. Um, although I didn't go through stuff every day. So let's just say, this has been about 2 weeks worth of work so far. I'm about a third of the way through the Magic the Gathering cards. It looks like there's about maybe as much stuff that's not Magic the Gathering as there was Magic the Gathering that I have. So, which is going to be fun. Um, you'll notice none of the Pokemon cards are in here because I have a family member that really likes Pokemon. And so she's gone through and pulled those all out. So we might go through some of my old Magic the Gathering cards because I think I have a foil Exalted Angel in there. It's like probably $100. Yeah, I have some stuff in there that's kind of cool. Um, I say it's $100. It would be $100 to buy, right? Like, I think because I think it's like mint, right? So it's probably like $100. The near mint's like maybe $50. Then you drop that down to, oh, they're only going to give you 70 or 80% of the price of it. And so you're talking like 35 to $40. I mean, so it's I wouldn't get that much if I sold it, but it's kind of cool because I think it might be the most expensive card I have, um, which isn't maybe saying a whole lot since it's only like $35. So a dual land, a beta, like I'm pretty sure a beta island I might be able to sell for about the same price, just because I think there's a lot more demand for that type of card, maybe. Um, but yeah. Anyway, we're going to call this stream to an end. I probably have uh, what, another month of this to get through everything, and then we're going to have quite a few months of just like editing videos, putting them up there, for people who don't want to watch. This is an hour and 51-minute stream. I don't even know if there's any point in editing this really, for people to watch unless they want to watch the whole stream. But I have some other ones like when I was going through revised. They're like an hour and a half. Getting that down to like a 5-minute like condensed video of just the highlights of that, and like some summaries of going through everything. Maybe like once a month, going back and looking at how prices have changed on stuff. So that's kind of my plan going forward. Uh, I don't know why I'm really explaining all this, since I kind of doubt anybody's going to suddenly watch this video anytime before I actually start doing all of that stuff. So we'll go ahead and stop the stream now. I've said that like 5 times. So.